This is how to create a recipe in MyFitnessPal, which is a very useful feature. The first thing I'll do is click on the person icon on the top right corner of the screen. Then I'm going to scroll down a little to where it says My Meals, Recipes, and Foods. From there, I'm already on recipes at the top, but you'll see there's also the option for meals and for foods. And in the recipe section, I'm going to click Create a Recipe. From here, I have the option of either adding from the web or entering ingredients manually. If I enter the ingredients manually, I'm going to give my recipe a name, Erica recipe. I'm going to say how many servings it's going to make. And then I can enter each item. So onion, 100 grams, chicken breast, boneless, skinless, raw, 1 pound. Make this a very simple recipe. Then I'm going to click the right arrow at the top right corner of the screen. I'm going to double check that the ingredients entered are correct and just make sure they look realistic. And they do. I can add an ingredient here or I can edit one. If I said, oh, actually I used 1.25 pounds, then I could change that, click the check mark, and then click the right arrow. And then that recipe is going to come up with the total calories, total grams of fat, carbs, and protein per serving. And I'm saying that it made 10 servings. And then I can either save it or I can save and log it. That didn't work, but I could normally. And then I could save it from there. Now, if I wanted to create a recipe and upload a link from a recipe on a blog or website, I'm going to click Create a Recipe. I'm going to click Add from the web. From here, I'm going to copy and paste the URL for the recipe that I want to upload. Then I'm going to click that blue right arrow on the bottom right corner of the screen. The recipe will come up and I'm going to click Import Recipe. From here, all the ingredients will come up. What I can do then is I can remove one if I want. Say I don't want to use the red pepper flakes, I can just delete that. And then I'm going to click the right arrow on the top right corner of the screen. From here, it's really important that you make sure that all of the ingredients look right. One of the biggest or most common errors is onion usually comes up in kilograms instead of grams or cups. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to change that serving size. Actually, I'm not because it's only letting me do a kilogram. So I'm going to search for alternative and I'm going to see if one of these works. So I'm going to click on one of the ones that has a green check mark and it has a medium option. And then I click on that serving size here where it says 1 medium, and it gives me a bunch of different options. So say I measure it and I measure grams and I measure 200 grams of onion for this recipe. I can do that there. I'm going to click the check mark on the top right corner of the screen, and then that's going to be updated. I'll then make sure I check everything else to make sure everything looks correct. And then I can click that right arrow at the top right corner of my screen, and it's going to save the recipe here. Now this says it makes 3,000 servings. I need to edit that because it's definitely not going to make 3,000. Maybe I need it to make 4 servings. Then I can scroll down and see that the calories, the grams of fat, carbs, and protein are accurate. And then I can either save it or I can save and log it. And in that save or log, what's going to come up is the serving of that recipe, 1 serving, I can change that if I want to have maybe 1.5. And then I can change the meal that I want to add it to. And then I can add or change the days that I want it to be included at. And then from there, I can log it.